So good morning, everybody. Today we will be talking about Malchut, the last Sifra that we're going to discuss before we get to Mount Sinai. So I had a lot of fun. I do have a lot of fun, I must admit, doing just a wee bit of research before each meditation, because I want to have something to say that is relevant and maybe even accurate. So I have looked at Malchut, and what I understand is that this is the Sifra of nobility and leadership. It's also sometimes the Sifra of, looked at as the Sifra of the Shekhinah. So we're going to talk about all of those things. So nobility is that quality of being worthy of honor or respect. It's human dignity. And some of you know that very often when we're about to enter into our meditation, I say, let's sit in a relaxed yet regal position. Relaxed yet alert, regal. So this is related to Malchut, that regal position. And leadership has to do with being capable of showing the way to others. You know, the dictionary definition said leadership is the act of leading. And that's just so annoying to me when you use the word in the definition. But so my interpretation of that is really being able to show by example. So I think that both nobility and leadership require the presence of all of the previous traits that we've discussed. So we talked about chesed as loving kindness, and gevura as discipline or being boundaried, having good boundaries, tiferet as a balanced self, netzach as an energetic response, and hod as humility. And they all come together, last week we saw, in the bonding of Yesod. And the result is how we live our lives. It's how we take all of these attributes and bring them into the world. At least that's my understanding. So for me, it's really, Malchut really is an expression of how to be a mensch. I did not see that in any of the things that I read. So I just want you to know that this is the gospel according to Fran, nobody else's gospel. The other thing that really struck me is that Malchut is sometimes talked about as Shekhinah. And the Shekhinah, as I understand it, is the feminine aspects of God. And that relates to a grounding and a life force, which is totally in concert with the notion of the first chakra, which is also residing in the same place, in this pelvic bowl. So we have the chakra, which is about family and tribe and this notion that we are all one and that we are all interconnected. So all of this is in the soup together. So I see Malchut as a sense of really belonging, of knowing that you truly matter and that you make a difference. That's part of the leadership aspect, right? And that you have something to contribute to the world. So this is the expression of our humanity as we bring all of the other attributes into play. And this book that I have kind of really enjoyed, called the Kabbalah Decoder, talks about King David as a representative of Malchut. So I just want to read this piece from this book. David was a young military hero, a poet, a lover, a great king and strategist, and a leader almost larger than life. His ability to lead was overshadowed by the weaknesses of his character, which led him to deception and murder. Thus, he was considered unfit to build the temple in Jerusalem. He struggled in his life and in his poetry, the Psalms, to reconcile the two tendencies toward good and toward evil. For this reason, he is seen as a reflection of the daily struggle in which we all engage. So I thought that was really interesting, that there is this constant discernment process that we go through as people as to how to act, when to speak up, when to hold back, all of those kinds of things. And of course, this also reminded me of a lovely quote from Brian Stevenson, that nobody is the worst thing they have ever done. So the complexity of human life is kind of summed up in that. So I want to share with you one of my favorite little artifacts from the 1980s. This is something that has been sitting on my refrigerator since the early 80s. And this button, to me, says it all. What we are is God's gift to us, and what we make of ourselves is our gift to God. So as we sit together today, I really want to encourage you to see if you can feel into your body the integration of all of the sifrot that we've been talking about for the last 7 weeks. And we will reconvene and talk about that a little later. I'm going to mute everyone, and then I will, actually, before I mute, is there anybody who has a question now or something they'd like to say about Malchut before we go into our meditation? Okay, so let's take our regal position as we sit in our chair or our cushion, however we're sitting. And I invite you to take a few nice, deep cleansing breaths. Breathing in fully, holding that breath, and then releasing. Releasing the breath, releasing tension, and again. As we begin to come back to the room, I'm going to share these words from Donna Falls. I pray to stay open today, open to the unrestrained energy of now, open to mystery and power, open to whatever comes, open to routine and surprises, open to moving past my first reactions, open to my imperfections and the divine spark that underlies them, open to wonder and the everyday grace of life unfolding as it does, open to events and circumstances that I like and those I don't, open to fatigue and overflowing energy, open to listen and to speak, open to love in all the ways it manifests, open to give and to receive, open to seasons changing, priorities rearranging, nothing staying the same for very long, open to letting beliefs dissolve into ether, open to the direct experience of truth, open to forgetting and remembering, open to life and open to death, open to seeing old patterns and letting them go, open to fear and courage and ease and difficulty. I pray to stay open. So, comments, insights, questions. The floor is yours. Just remember to unmute when you want to speak.
And unrecord.
Oh, thank you. Yes. Where is this? I can't find the recording button.
Maybe touch your screen to reactivate it.
Oh, my screen is fine. Oh, here we go. It was not where I expected it to be.